last issuance altogether and bringing those monies forward into the next couple issuances following 15. It would be roughly 2017 and 2019. 2010 Measure D, 2012 Measure E would be done at that point, at that level of tax rate. Yes, Ms. Clark.
So this scenario would mean taking back what we promised the voters, that we would go no higher than a $48 tax rate?
There's two tax rate maximums that the district has. There's a statutory maximum that coincides with a Proposition 39 bond measure, which both the 2010 and 2012 measures are. Then there is a ballot measure maximum, which within the tax rate statement references a best estimate of what the tax rate will be associated with that particular measure. And that's where the $48 comes into play for both 2010 Measure D and 2012 Measure E.
And is there a statement on the ballot for the voter to explain that this could go high as $60, given the scenario that you're speculating about?
There is. The way that the ballot measures work is there's a very limited statement, a 75-word statement that's included as the main ballot language. And then following that, there's a series of attachments, one of which is a tax rate statement. And within that tax rate statement, it alludes to the $60 maximum and the best estimate target. So, yes, to answer your question, there is that information included in there.
And neither one of those are included, neither number is included in the 75.
No, usually not, and not in these particular measures cases.
Right. Thank you.
All right, got one more page.
And one last page on this particular presentation is another scenario at $52 tax rate, a middle ground scenario, if you will, from a tax rate perspective, considering a 4% assessed valuation growth rate. And as you can see in this scenario, following the 2015 issuance of 135, we're suggesting you can access $165 million in the 2016-17 fiscal year, followed by 125, and then a remaining 90 in 2021. There is no tail, and all of the bond authorization is accessed by 2021. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them as it relates to this information.
So I do have a question. Was it this previous board that asked you to look at the higher tax rates? Or what was the, when you presented that information, was that something that came from your idea of sharing as much as possible with us, or was there a go-ahead from the board to go in that direction?
There was a request for alternative scenarios and for information, and as the district's financial advisor, that's our job to present that information. I wouldn't say it was for purposes of making a decision, it was for purposes of planning, recognizing that at no point in time was the 2015 bond sale considering any of those parameters that we just looked at. It's that 2015 bond sale has always been based on $48 at 4%.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that you were sharing the information that you were asked to share that.
Yeah, there are additional scenarios and hypotheticals that people can be interested in. I want to ask a question that has a couple of questions. Well, the main one is, and maybe it was Dave all this. We've discussed negotiated sales versus competitive sales before, but I'd like us to revisit why we've looked at negotiated sales.
So yes, every time we've gone to a bond sale, we've taken this decision before the board in terms of bringing information to the facility subcommittee and to the board meeting to determine whether or not we should move along with the competitive or move with negotiated. And we rely heavily on our financial advisors to help us make that decision. And there's a couple of things that has complicated our particular case. One is that our district, because it had the state loan, continued, even though we had good credit ratings, the investors continued to balk at buying bonds because of the state trustee issue, which
We
we have.
needed more conversation.
Right, and what our financial advisors have told us is that in those kinds of cases, you know, really does help to have that investor outreach that comes along with the negotiated sale. And so that's been one of the reasons. And we're, you know, coming out from under that, and it seems like we're now in an economic recovery situation in terms of the nation, and the bonds seem like they're, you know, cheaper and cheaper, so in terms of, you know, what we have to pay for them. So I think it's something the board should consider every single time as to whether or not they're really wanting to go competitive or negotiated. And I too am a fan of the competitive.
Right, right. I think that the competitive makes a tremendous amount of sense, but
And
there
we
were
have,
reasons.
and we have sold competitive. It's only been since the recession that we've looked at negotiating. We do have competitive sales in our past.
Right, right. And the whole idea of the negotiated sale was that you did have to have much more conversation with the investors, right? The deal with the negotiated sale is that you went out and did investor outreach, talked to people individually to make them feel comfortable with a buy in this district,
Right.
which
We had
they
investor,
weren't.
right, we had investor road shows, we had, you know, all of that kind of activities to try to make sure we had a broad base of buyers and we're able to do the best deal.
So if we're able to go to competitives, we can just retire that whole process.
Yes.
And just go switch.
Yes.
And I hope we do get to do that.
I think, yeah, I'm
That's-
hoping so too.
That's the direction we want to go in. Okay, any more questions, Mrs. Lino? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We're going to go to the next one. Now, wait a minute.
I don't want to disappoint you, but we're still up here.
We're
This
still
is
on the
second
same, we're still on the
presentation.
same